I am TechDweeb from the future. I am sending a message back in time to your TV. I must tell you something important. This is super important, so listen up. Are you listening? Yes? Good. I could hear your answer. That's like a superpower that I have now in the future. Anyways, long story short, the future is doomed. Society will collapse. Everyone will either die or become an AI or some sort of like future robot zombie thing. Everyone will talk like this too. This is just how we talk now in the future. However, you can stop this terrible fate. If you do what I say in 2026, then you can curb the space-time continuum into a new and better direction. All you have to do is subscribe to TechDweeb. The future depends on it. Also click the like button and leave a comment. That's not for the future. It just helps with the algorithm. You know how it is. Oh, one more thing. This is very important. You must go to the... Hey there, I'm TechDweeb. Present day TechDweeb. I don't know if that other guy on the TV was actually me or just some sort of like hologram created by AI or something. It could easily be a hologram. Holograms are totally a future thing probably. But I'm pretty sure I'm not a hologram. I can feel myself. I can feel my skin. I'm here. I'm here now talking to you. And I'm pretty sure you're watching this video. Unless you're a hologram. If so, then answer this. Do holograms need to eat? And if so, is it just like hologram food or real food? And if it is hologram food, do you have to cook it in like hologram microwaves or something? Actually, you know what? I have too many hologram related questions. Let me know in the comments if you're a hologram and I'll give you some questions down there. Anyways, assuming that you're a flesh and blood human, like me probably, then you survived 2025. Congratulations! I hope you had a great year. I hope you played some great retro games. I hope you got some sort of shiny new retro doodad to play with. And I hope you found love and health and happiness and all that garbage. I certainly did. Get a shiny retro doodad, I mean. There was lots that happened in 2025. It was a pretty exciting year for tech. Some good news and some bad news, but overall, us retro emulation nerds have been eating good this year. But 2025 is done, and the looming new year is upon us. And as we stare into the unknowable void that is 2026, I think we're obligated to do two things. One is to make our New Year's resolutions. I have only one of those, to make better videos for you. Let me know yours in the comments. And the other thing that we gotta do is predict what's in store for us in 2026. The future is an unknowable pit of blackness, so let's fill it with a bunch of pink fluffy predictions. I've collected a whole shaboogle of retro tech predictions that I think are possible for 2026. And I even quantified how confident I am in my predictions, how likely they are to happen. This is like a game that I'm going to play with myself. This time next year, I'm going to see how many of my predictions came true, assuming the world doesn't end or society doesn't collapse or whatever. And on that happy thought, let's get this prediction train a-rolling, shall we? Chugga 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 toot toot. Let's begin with what Retroid is going to get up to this year. We know the RP6 is coming, and that'll probably be good. No point in predicting that. But what else is Retroid going to do? Here's what I think is likely. I think that we're going to get a Retroid dual screen device. I mean, think about it. Every other handheld maker has given us a dual screen. Ayaneo, even frickin' Anbernic figured it out. So now it's Retroid's turn. And I'm not talking about an add-on like the Retroid Dual. That thing was, it was neat and cheap, but like, I don't think most people liked it that much. I did, but once I got actual dedicated dual screen doodads, there wasn't much point in using that. With the success of the Thor, I think that Retroid is gonna try to snag a piece of that dual screen doodad pie. I'm fairly confident in this prediction, so I'm gonna give this a certainty of 70%. That means that I'm 70% sure that this will 100% happen, if that makes sense. No, it doesn't. My next prediction is not a happy one, but it's one that we need to be ready for. You may have heard that AI data centers have been gobbling up all the RAM, and now it's getting harder and harder to buy RAM at a semi-reasonable price. Not just for us PC builders, but doodad makers too. We already see this. Ayn has had problems shipping their Odin 3 Ultra because of RAM availability. PCs and laptops have already had massive price hikes, and even cell phone makers have hinted that they might need to make new lines of products with less RAM. I'm personally doing everything that I can do. I tried to learn how RAM is made and I attempted to make my own, but it didn't go well. So until I figure that out, or until we get some new RAM making capacity going, I foresee a 2026 where basically everything with RAM increases in price. This is on top of the massive inflation that we've already experienced because of the economic conditions. RAM scarcity is going to drive these electronic prices up even higher. And unfortunately, I am very confident in this prediction. I'm giving this a 100% certainty, which means that there's no chance it won't happen, unless I'm wrong, which is 50% likely. Ayaneo is a hard to predict company because they're always coming out of left field with some new thing that nobody saw coming. Say what you want about their products or their about pricing decisions, but you have to admit that they're always trying new things. However, they're not averse to revisiting popular products that did well. And what I really want them to do is revisit the Ayaneo Ace. That's one of my favorite doodads from last year. I loved it to bits and I still love it. It's like the perfect middle ground handheld. I think it was like the CEO or the lead product guy at Ayaneo, but someone over there said that the Ace was the handheld they always wanted to make. It was a passion project for them and it is so good in so many ways, but it does have a few shortcomings. I'd love an Ace with a quieter fan, a bit more power, and of course an OLED screen would be amazing. I wanted to keep the same great retro vibes, the 3:2 aspect ratio, no need to reinvent the wheel. I feel like the Ace is the most likely of Ayaneo's products to get a fresh coat of paint. I'm going to give this a 60% certainty. I think it's possible and I hope it happens, but time will tell. This next one isn't specifically retro tech, but I talk a lot about Steam stuff like the Steam Deck on my channel, so like whatever. This is my list. I'll do what I want to do. And I want to predict that the upcoming Steam machine will be a huge, massive, runaway success for Valve. Who knows what'll happen with the price because of the RAM issue that I mentioned earlier, but I can't see the Steam machine not being super popular. The world is just ready for a Steam machine. We're ready for PC gaming to take over the gaming world in the way that it was always destined to do. And the Steam machine is the first device that can actually achieve this. I'm going to say with a 90% certainty that the Steam machine will be a massive success. And a sub-prediction is that it's going to be so popular that there's going to be delays and shortages. I'll give that a 50% certainty. Hope I'm wrong about that last part though. But what will Ayn be up to? In 2025, they gave us the Odin 2 Portal and the Thor and the Odin 3. I'm not sure if the world is ready for a different version of the Thor. I'm not sure what that would even be like. Maybe they'll do something totally new and unexpected, but I think what's entirely likely, considering the success of the Odin 2 Portal, is that we'll get an Odin 3 in Portal form. Like a bigger, more full-sized Odin 3. An Odin 3 Portal. It makes perfect sense. The Odin line is their flagship. They were so happy with the Odin 2 that they did 3 different versions, and the Portal was my favorite of all of them. I preferred that over every other variation of the Odin 2. So like an Odin 3 Portal, heck yeah. I'm super confident that we're going to get one in 2026. Hopefully by then we'll have even better Snapdragon Elite compatibility with emulators and Game Hub and stuff. I'm going to go with a 90% probability on this prediction. It's going to happen. Make my words. I don't talk a lot about the console world because, well, I really don't care about consoles. I'm not a console gamer. I don't care about PlayStations and Xboxes. I care a little bit about the Switch, but that's more like a side tangent interest because I find the Switch itself interesting and I like first-party Nintendo games. But there has been a lot of talk in the Xbox world about the future of Xbox. Apparently, Xbox console sales are going terribly. Games aren't selling, and the idea that everything is an Xbox hasn't really panned out the way that they had hoped. But there are quite a few rumors floating around that the next Xbox is going to be much less like a console and more like a PC. Sort of like the Steam machine, but made by Microsoft, and it's probably going to have Windows on it. I feel like that makes perfect sense, and I personally would be a lot more likely to buy an Xbox if I knew that those same games that I could buy on it and play on it could also run on my PC. So I kinda hope this is true. Who knows, maybe the future console war will be between Microsoft and Valve. That would be a fun twist. I'm not super confident in this one though. Xbox feels like they flip-flop a lot, so I'm just gonna give this a 30% probability. Maybe we'll get a new Xbox announcement, but I'm not holding my breath. Anbernic though.
What's Anbernic gonna do? The main reason we got so many Anbernic devices last year was because they had their XX line of doodads, and they did one of those in basically every size and shape that you could dream up. However, they've already done those devices and they haven't really done any budget doodads since then, so it feels like it's about the right time for an entirely new line of budget devices for Anbernic. Maybe they'll find a new chipset that they can buy a warehouse full of and churn out an entire new generation of budget doodads in every size and shape and flavor imaginable. That feels like an entirely possible, nay, probable scenario. Whatever they do, they're gonna do something big on the budget end, and we'll have a flood of new Anbernics to gush over or complain about. I'm saying that with about 70% certainty. The real question is, what's it gonna be called? I'll have to get a whole new dweeby naming scheme going if they do. This one is kind of vague, but totally likely. We're gonna get a new Konkr device, probably more than one, and I'm gonna predict that we'll hear about their next new thing early in the year. Konkr is a sub-brand of Ayaneo, and Ayaneo makes a lot of stuff. They turn out new devices every month or two, so it makes sense that they'll release new Konkr stuff frequently enough too. The Konkr Pocket Fit was a huge success for them. Everyone seemed to like it, and they sold a lot of them from what I could see. They're still having shipping issues, but I'm pretty sure once they kind of settle the Konkr Pocket Fit's launch, they're gonna have something new lined up next. I'm not sure what that'll be. Maybe a vertical. That's what I'd love to see. But regardless, I feel with 80% of my soul that we'll get something. This one I'm kind of shooting from the hip with because I don't own any of their devices or really follow Analogue and the stuff that they make. I've just watched Retro Game Corp's videos really. I think it's cool what they're doing, but I don't have a need for an N64 FPGA or a Game Boy FPGA. Those things that play cartridges, they're not really my thing. However, Ayn Odin Superstation seems to be a hot item. That's a PS1 FPGA device that honestly seems amazing. So would Analogue do something like that? I think that's entirely likely. The Superstation proved that it's possible to make an affordable PS1 FPGA, so I can see Analogue doing their version of that sort of device. And considering it's Analogue, they'll make it lovely, but overpriced and artificially scarce. But again, that's not really my expertise, the FPGA world, so I'm only maybe 40% confident in this prediction. Deep down in my heart of hearts, the one thing that I want probably more than anything this year is a true successor to my favorite thing, the Miyoo Mini. Miyoo has made some other stuff, some hits, some misses, but the Miyoo Mini is their all-time crowning achievement, and they've had to stop making them because of screen supply issues and just a production capacity shifting to the Miyoo Mini Flip. But the Miyoo Mini is just so perfect and cute and special that it needs to stick around. I really, really hope I'm right about this one. A new Miyoo Mini. That would put Miyoo back on the map, and it would make me a happy dweeb. I'm not holding my breath though, because I'm only like 20% confident that they'll actually do it. I've got all my fingers and toes crossed though. Half-Life 3. We'll get Half-Life 3. That's it. That's the prediction. It'll be a launch title for the Steam machine. Maybe there will be delays for whatever reason, but I am so confident that I'd be willing to bet my mom's pension that we'll get Half-Life 3 in 2026. If you follow gaming news, all the signs are pointing to it. I'm saying this with 90% certainty. I'm leaving 10% off because Half-Life 3 has been so freaking elusive and Valve is such a wild card that it is possible that we won't ever get Half-Life 3, but I'm pretty sure we will in 2026. 90% sure. And on a final personal prediction, I'm going to guess that my channel will hit 400,000 subscribers before the end of 2026. I thought my growth would be more than it is, and I haven't met my own targets in the past, but that's totally fine. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and I'm in no rush. I can do this for a living now, and I'm having the best time in the world doing it, so I'm just going to do my thing and enjoy the ride. However, when I look at my growth, I feel like 400,000 subscribers next year is just within the realm of possibility. I'm going to say this with like, I don't know, 60% certainty. And who knows, maybe making this prediction will be the kick in the pants I need to inspire me to greater heights, and I'll be able to do it. Wish me luck. Oh, and I gotta ask, if you haven't subscribed yet, then maybe do that and help this one come true. And that's it. That's my big list of predictions for 2026. I'm totally prepared for none of these to come true, and I'm gonna look like a total goof this time next year. That's kind of one of my special skills though. I'm an expert at looking like a goof. I really hope I'm right about some of these though, because if even half these things come true, it'll be a fun year for retro gamers. And who the heck knows what other cool, amazing things will happen this year. Or terrible ones. Maybe by this time next year, we'll all be turned into batteries like in the Matrix and live in a simulation of 1999. I'd actually be fine with that. 1999 was awesome. But now it's your turn. Let's hear your 2026 predictions. Will Powkitty buy Microsoft? Will Donald Trump make a PS5 emulator? Will sentient vegetables scalp the new Steam machine on eBay? Let us know what you think will happen in the comments so that this time next year we can all marvel at how right you were, or laugh at how wrong you were. But that'll do it for me for this year. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking with me. Happy New Year, you marvelous dweebs. And as always, I'm TechDweeb. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.